Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 6. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Welcome everyone, I'm Whitney Ward. So after years of back and forth, a final decision has been made. Tonight, the Spokane Public School Board has decided to build a new stadium in downtown Spokane.
So that vote comes after the district previously decided to build a new stadium at the site of Joe Albee. Tonight's meeting just wrapped up. Our Casey Decker was watching. He's joining us live tonight with the latest on this decision just made in the past few minutes. Casey.
Well, Mark, Whitney, years of back and forth is right. I personally have been covering this story since 2018. And so let's just kind of take it chronologically to give you guys the scope of just how big this decision is here. In 2018 is when it began. That's when Spokane Public Schools voters approved a bond measure that was about $500 million worth. Of that $500 million, $31 million was to replace the decaying Joe Albee Stadium. In that same election, there was an advisory vote. Now, this advisory vote was actually contained to city limits, but nonetheless, the people in that vote decided that they would prefer the stadium be built in Northwest Spokane at the current Joe Albee site. That was a pretty overwhelming vote, even though there was a downtown proposal on the table at the time. So then the board later that year voted to go ahead with the Joe Albee project at the Joe Albee site, and that one is actually already done with the design phase. But then local leaders, especially in the business community, came back again early this year with a new proposal for a downtown stadium. You're seeing the renderings for that proposal there. This one had much more detail than the one they brought forward in 2018, and it included a commitment from a minor league soccer team to come to Spokane if the stadium was built downtown. So the board wanted to consider this new, more detailed proposal. They got a lot of public input. They had forums, they had surveys, and then they decided that, well, in order to really consider this and to override their previous vote and to go against that 2018 advisory vote, there needed to just be an overwhelming amount of benefit to the district and to the city. They created this list of parameters that the proposal would need to meet, and they told staff, go negotiate this, figure out how we can get this done. Today, staff came back and they said, we got it done. Here are the things that we were able to accomplish, things we were able to make happen in this proposal that ranged from assuring the district would have total ownership of the stadium to making sure they got a cut of the revenue to various equity measures. And so the board took a look at that proposal, that presentation, and they said, yeah, we think this is so overwhelmingly beneficial for the district, for our students, and for the city that we really have to go with this. They voted 4-1 today to go with the downtown stadium. Go ahead and take a listen now to that vote.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposers say nay.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it.
And you can hear there that Director Nikki Lockwood, she was the one who voted against this proposal. She was still very much concerned about that 2018 advisory vote, even though some people pointed out that not everyone in the district was able to vote in that advisory vote and that circumstances have changed since. She was also concerned about some of the unknowns about the possible impact this downtown stadium could have on the neighborhood, especially the nearby Spokane Civic Theater. But the other board members felt that those concerns were met with this proposal. They voted to go ahead with the downtown stadium, so we should expect to have a new stadium in Spokane near the Spokane Arena sometime in the next few years. This saga finally now coming to an end. Mark, Whitney.
My hope is the community continues to trust us. I feel we've been through a big journey together.
Public health officials say vaccines are our best shot at beating the pandemic. However, in Grant County, officials are dealing with one of the lowest vaccination rates in the entire state.
The county now seeing a new case rate of more than 300 a day. Our own Ian Smay talked with the Grant County Health Administrator today. He's live in the newsroom right now with the latest. Ian.
Yeah, Mark and Whitney, Grant County is lagging behind the state average when it comes to people with either their first shot or total vaccination. Health officials have been trying to get more and more people vaccinated, but they say it isn't a problem with a simple solution. As of May 1st, Grant County is behind the state average when it comes to vaccination rates. On this map, the darker green a county appears, the higher percentage of people have received at least one COVID-19 shot. As you can see, Grant County is one of the lowest. When it comes to Grant County versus the state's average as a whole, the gap becomes more apparent. About 29% have received one shot, more than 10% behind the state average of almost 44%. The gap narrows for full vaccination rates, although Grant County's mark of 24% is still trailing the state average of about 31%. According to the Grant County Health Administrator, the problem isn't a simple one.
We are up against some vaccine hesitancy. Early on, it was about supply. Grant County did not get one of the mass vaccination sites. In fact, our vaccine was quite limited given the size of our population.
To combat this, the health district is sending mobile vaccination sites to places where people work in close proximity. Grant County is working to make sure people know vaccine appointments are available. When it comes to combating vaccine hesitancy, Atkinson says it's more about educating people on the vaccine.
I think if we keep approaching it from a variety of viewpoints, make sure they know where they can get the vaccine, myth busting. There's a lot of misinformation out there about the vaccine. So how can we help ease people's peace of mind? I'd encourage them, talk to your healthcare provider.
The goal to improve the vaccination rate is to safely bring back events to Grant County. For those at the health district, the work is personal.
We actually love to talk about hope because it's one of the last things we really have right now. It's been a really hard year for everybody that works at this health district, and we know it's been equally hard for our community. So my hope is to be able to go to the Grant County Fair and watch my son show his lamb. My hope for the community is that they get to feel safe going into church again.
Another thing that Atkinson told me is that the district doesn't have the data they need to tell what demographics are receiving the vaccine at the lowest rate. They have asked the state for help in gathering that data, but they do know at this point that it seems to be younger populations getting the vaccine at the lowest rates. In the newsroom tonight, Ian Smay, KREM 2 News.
Ian, thank you very much. Today is National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. The pavilion will light up red tonight in honor of the day.
The Native American Alliance for Policy and Action is actually hosting a walk and vigil to honor those victims tonight in Riverfront Park. And right now, that is where we find our own Regina on. Hi, Regina.
Hi, Whitney. Hi, Mark. Yeah, so Cinco de Mayo, of course, is today, but it also is a special day as well, the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women Awareness Day, like you guys mentioned. Now, you'll notice a couple folks out here wearing red, and that is in support of that MMIW. You can find that hashtag everywhere right now, and that's a really important thing. And right now, it's actually being called the silent crisis because typically what I'm told here is when Native American people go missing, it's not typically reported. I'm told right now there are 103 Native American people missing in Washington, over half over in eastern Washington. Now, this has nothing to do, again, with Cinco de Mayo. That is just a community here supporting another community. Now, as you mentioned, a group of Indigenous people will be marching to the pavilion tonight at 7 o'clock as it will be lit up in red. Nidia Martinez, Director of Chicanic Studies at EWU, talks a bit more on this.
One of the things is that we are in support for bringing awareness of the Indigenous women who had been murdered, right, or being missing, and normally those individuals had not been recognized within our communities. So we are wearing red in support for this the need of this awareness.
So when you do get here to the pavilion, you'll notice a lot of the people here are wearing red, and that again is in support of that reason. I do want to show you this really quick that they have posted here in Spokane. 5 of the 9 cases are children between the ages of 14 and 17. So statewide, nearly 40% of the active cases involving those under the age of 18. We'll have more information on this on our website, but for now, I'll throw it back to you guys live here in Spokane. Regina on KREM 2 News.
Regina, thank you very much. All right, to weather now. The inland Northwest could be seeing the hottest temperatures of the year tomorrow.
Not like what we're used to seeing here at the very beginning of May. Tom Sherry is actually outside enjoying this beautiful night. We've got one more day to enjoy before things really take a turn, right, Tom?
Boy, that is the truth. We're going to get into the 80s tomorrow, 80s. And then I think we're going to see temperatures drop down, 24-degree drop by the time we get into Friday. So let's talk about it. Very warm temperatures today. We got up to about 73 degrees. We'll look for a high tomorrow, again, of about 82 or 83. And then we'll look for thunderstorms to develop by tomorrow night or rainstorms, and that will lead to much colder or cooler conditions for Friday and into the weekend. Right now, you look at the satellite and radar picture. We've got a little bit of rain that is taking place on the east slopes of the Cascades. We've got mostly cloudy skies across the Spokane area right now. We're at 71 degrees, and again, you can see the wind is out of the east northeast at 8 miles per hour. So your day planner forecast, cloudy skies. We'll look for an overnight low of 49 degrees. I've got 83. Can you believe it? 83, the expected high tomorrow. The average high for this time of year is 64 degrees. And then by the weekend, we're going to see actually below average temperatures. We'll look for a high of 61 on Saturday, temperatures hitting 62 on Sunday. Again, tracking possible rain and thunderstorms tomorrow night into Friday. More on that coming up in a few minutes.
Sounds good, Tom. Thank you very much. Well, there are just a few days left in the Creme Cares diaper drive. Creme 2 and our partners are raising money to buy diapers for local families who could use a little help. The diaper drive has been going on for more than a decade, each year providing hundreds of thousands of diapers to keep kids warm, safe, and dry. And we hope you can donate today.
It costs a family about $1,000 a year to diaper a child, and about half the families we serve earn less than $5,000 a year. So it's simple math to say that our families are really struggling to afford diapers and really need our help.